Welcome to the second series of the Little Bean podcast, where every episode feels like a warm hug, reminding us that we are not alone in the rollercoaster of parenthood. I'm your host, Sarah Baldock, a mum to 3 amazing boys, as well as a newborn and family photographer. I've been so lucky to join hundreds of families on their parenthood journey and capture their most precious memories. Along the way, we've laughed through so many different topics around parenthood, and I thought it would be great to bring them to life in my podcast. The aim of the Little Bean podcast is to show mums and dads that you're not alone. I can pretty much guarantee everything that you are feeling at various points in your journey, we've all been there. So together, let's navigate the highs and lows of being a mum and dad, from the first moment you find out you're pregnant, right up until you're when your babies are taller than you and embarking on their own journeys. Let's cozy up and share stories about all sorts of topics, from little ones first cuddly to the evolving themes of a family board game, from the first books they won't let you stop reading to the once beloved TV shows that used to be on permanent repeat and are now a thing of the past. Yes, Peppa Pig. Every change marks another page turned in our family story, yet each soft goodbye, there's an exciting new hello. We're here to share these moments and to show you that you're not alone. It can sometimes feel like you're the only one riding these waves of emotions, but trust me, you're not. You're doing a fantastic job. Through the laughter and the tears, it's your love that makes this journey so incredibly special. Let's cherish each moment together. The summer holidays, they're almost here. And this year, it's going to be a mix of emotions for me. My youngest son is finishing primary school and will be heading to high school in September. It's a milestone that not only marks the end of an era, but the end of 13 years of primary school and walking the boys to school every day. As of September, they will be getting the school bus, and my job of walking them to school will be complete. I will obviously still be required for general taxi service and picking up from after-school clubs and after-school sports clubs, but the daily walk to school will be over. It's funny, but I was thinking the other day about how our school holidays have evolved over the years. We started with the days when we had no clue about the dates of the school holidays as the boys were at nursery. More importantly, we weren't tied to the school holidays to go away, but that's a whole episode in itself. Then there is navigating the bustling crowds with little ones and trying to time our trips so that everyone isn't there at the same time and avoiding the mayhem. And now we face the challenge of engaging 2 teenagers who are interested in their own worlds and a tweenager who's like a pocket rocket. The journey so far has been one filled with laughter, chaos and precious memories. So I thought it would be fun to take a trip down memory lane and reflect on how school holidays change as our little ones grow. And also add a few things that I used to love to do, as it may help other families who are heading towards the sometimes dreaded 6-week summer holidays. So let's rewind a bit and start with the days before little ones were at school. You don't really realise what's to come and you're blissfully unaware of school holidays, apart from noticing the busier parks and the longer queues at the zoo. Your little ones are just thrilled to be out and about, completely oblivious to the ebb and flow of the school calendar. One of the boys' favourite things to do was, of course, soft play. We have a local adventure farm which had lots of things to do, including a soft play, and they used to love it there. It also wore them out. And me, if I'm honest, but it was great fun. Fast forward to those early school years. Suddenly you're smack bang in the middle of the school holidays and everywhere is packed. Exciting trips to the beach meant weaving through the crowds, and finding a spot in a park or a park bench was, well, felt like winning the lottery. I tell you what I did become though, and that was a master planner. Learning the art of timing, arriving at soft play just as they opened, and got really good at going early in the afternoon and avoiding the middle of the day rush. So for me, as my boys got a bit older and a new challenge emerged, it was balancing the interests of all 3 of them. The older boys used to sigh dramatically at the thought of another trip to the farm, whilst my youngest couldn't get enough of feeding the goats. It's like a juggling act, trying to find that activity where everybody's happy. And I'm not even going to mention engaging teenagers. They'd rather spend their time with their friends or in their rooms than join our family outings. That is, of course, unless someone has found a magic solution to getting more than a grunt and a groan out of a teenage boy, or two in my case now, in which case I'm here and I'm ready to chat. It makes it sound as if we don't have any fun anymore, and that's not true at all. There are still so many things that we all do together and have a brilliant time, but it's quite emotional when you sit back and realise how much things have changed year on year. And sometimes we don't realise just how much until we look back at what we used to do. For me, reminiscing started when we drove past the adventure farm I mentioned earlier and realised how long it had been since we'd been there. So I said to the boys, "Do you remember always going to the adventure farm?" And while my youngest started recounting all the trips there, the older two just sort of nodded, but I genuinely couldn't tell you if they remembered or not. As well as reminiscing and getting all emotional again, I thought it might be helpful to look at some of the things the boys used to love doing, as it might give other families inspiration this summer. And let's face it, we all need some inspiration in the summer holidays. So where do I start? It's always good to try and keep some of your activities simple and budget friendly. There aren't many. And it can be just as magical and create just as many fabulous memories. Parks are always a win, with little ones' endless energy to run and climb. Or how about a nature trail? Collect leaves, look for bugs, make it an adventure. Not quite so budget friendly at times, but for those rainy days, there's always a soft play area. Just remember, timing is key. Aim for those quiet windows early in the morning or later in the afternoon to avoid the school holiday chaos. If you are looking for days out, the boys used to love our fairly local safari park. It's great as they get to see all the amazing animals from the car, so there's less complaints about being tired and my feet hurt. But they still get to see lots of things. Word of warning though, do make sure you have a portable potty with you in the car. Only one of my sons could need the toilet when we're halfway round the lion enclosure. And yes, that is a real true story. Now let's talk about holiday clubs. I know these aren't family days out, but they are a lifesaver sometimes, and I thought they would be worth a mention. When the boys were younger, holiday clubs were nothing short of a miracle. They got to have a go at activities that really would have been a nightmare to manage at home. Think gloop, paint, and endless water games. The sheer mess these activities cause fills me with dread. But at holiday clubs, they were all set up for it, and the boys loved it. Holiday clubs also gave them a chance to play with other children, which they loved. Let's face it, 6 weeks of being cooped up with just your siblings for company can be a bit much, even for the closest of brothers. Holiday clubs also helped us as parents, as we still had to work and get things done. It was lovely as the boys came home with stories of new friends and exciting adventures, and I got to work and get chores done, knowing they were having fun and staying active. But as with many things, the magic of holiday clubs faded over the years. It became harder and harder to persuade them that these clubs were a good idea and that they would have loads of fun. Also, we always used to try and find a few friends who were doing the same days at the clubs, as they got to play with them as well. But as they got older, that changed too. Eventually, it dawned on me that they just weren't enjoying them anymore. That said, for my boys, the only clubs that were always a hit were the sports holiday clubs. Be it football, tennis or cricket, they were all in. Sadly, they're too old for those now, and I know, given half a chance, all three of them would still jump at the opportunity to spend a day playing cricket in a holiday club. It's a bittersweet transition, watching them grow out of these phases. The holiday clubs that once kept them entertained and gave them a break from each other are now a distant memory. But it also is a reminder of how much they've grown and how their interests have evolved, perhaps even in part due to the things they did do in those years of holiday clubs. It's all part of their journey. So as they inch closer to the pre-teen age, you might find yourself needing to get a bit more creative. The cinema becomes a hit, especially with a good animated film or a family-friendly blockbuster. The boys used to get so excited about the cinema and sitting there with their feet barely touching the end of the chair and their giant treat tub of popcorn. They still love the cinema now, although their feet definitely touch the ground and it's harder to find films that they all want to watch. It is doable though. Museums and science centres are a brilliant choice and often have interactive exhibits, and they keep them entertained for hours. The boys used to love the think tank in Birmingham. In fact, we used to go so often we got an annual pass, which was brilliant. I can still see them playing in the water area and learning about physics at the same time, with no clue they were learning about physics. Then there are always the simple pleasures like baking together or starting a mini DIY project at home. That said, with 3 boys, I did always go into the activity with rose-tinted glasses, thinking we would spend hours of fun making and decorating cakes or painting and making papier-mâché figures. Only to find, in reality, the boys spent 5 minutes making a total mess and then got bored and left me to finish this project and tidy up, and they went off to play Lego or cars or something else. Oh well, I tried. At the time, I did wonder why I bothered, but I wouldn't change it for the world, and they do still remember it. I have more recently learned that for tricky teenage years, it's all about giving them a bit of autonomy while still keeping family time in the mix. A fun idea is to get everyone involved in the planning. Ask each family member to write down 3 things they'd love to do during the holidays and toss them into a hat. Draw them out one by one, but do remember to only put 1 suggestion per person per draw and keep things fair. Not that I'm speaking from personal experience, that I forgot to do this once, and by some fluke, my oldest son's 3 suggestions were the only ones pulled out. Cue a massive row and a major redraw, making sure that there were even numbers from each of the boys. Now we go to things like Go 8 for ropes and zip wires. We still do cinema trips too, and we try and plan at least 1 big adventure each holiday, such as maybe a theme park. It means they can all do something they love. Last year, for my oldest son's birthday, which is just before they go back to school, we went quad biking and it was brilliant. The boys did laugh at me though, as I was always at the back looking like driving Miss Daisy. The older 2 do now also do more things with their friends. And it's an emotional time when you realise they need you less, but it also makes the family times even more special. Thinking ahead to our holidays, I'm thinking of giving a Segway adventure a try at Cannock Chase. So if anyone's done it, can you let me know if it's any good? Thanks. Another big part of our summer holidays, well, for the boys anyway, not for Mum and Dad, has been the boys' journey through Beavers, Cubs and Scouts, and now as young leaders. Over the last few years, the older ones, although scarily now it's my younger ones who are the older ones, have had a chance to go on various scout trips. And in the summer holidays, they've had absolutely brilliant time and loved them. 5 years ago, my eldest went to Cam Jam, which was his first big international scout jamboree, and he had an amazing time. Then 2 years ago, my eldest 2 went to Kandersteg in Switzerland for 10 days. While I missed them hugely, the experiences they had were nothing short of incredible. This year, my younger 2 are off to Essex Jam, and in 2 years' time, my youngest will have his turn to go to Kandersteg. Such amazing opportunities, and I must admit I'm pretty jealous. As an aside, I would highly recommend Beavers, Cubs and Scouts. The things they learn and the experiences they have are truly life-changing. They get to do things they would never normally have the chance to do, from camping under the stars to international adventures. It truly sets them up for the future, building confidence, resilience, and a sense of adventure. Anyway, sorry, I digress. These scouting experiences not only enrich their school holidays, but have also provided them with skills and memories that will last a lifetime. It's a wonderful feeling to see them so excited and engaged, knowing that they are making lifelong friends and gaining invaluable experiences. And it all helps to keep them entertained over the holidays too. Through all these stages, the heart of it remains the same, making memories. When you're together, whether it's a simple day at the park or a planned family outing, it's those shared moments that matter. And then, as they get older, as they start branching out with their friends or to scout camps abroad, it's knowing that all these adventures are setting them up for the future as they spread their wings and go into the big wide world. So I hope I've inspired you to try a few different activities this summer holiday, and I hope I've helped with the inevitable feeling of dread of the looming school holidays. 6 weeks is a long time to entertain little ones, or not so little ones now in my case. I always said I was going to make the most of every precious summer break, as it won't be long before they're off doing their own things, as mine are starting to do now. But even with that thought ever present in my head, I did struggle with the 6-week juggle, particularly when most of us can't take the whole 6 weeks off. Inevitably, by the end of the holidays, I tried really hard not to, but I did look forward to the start of the new term. I'm sorry, boys, it's true. So, here's to school holidays in all their chaotic, joyful and evolving glory. Enjoy every second, because before you know it, they'll be off planning their own adventures. But also remember, it really is okay to get to the end of the holidays and drop them off on their first day of the new term and do a happy dance all down the road at the realisation you survived another 6-week summer holiday. Yay! So that brings us to the end of another heartwarming episode here at the Little Bean Podcast. It's always a joy to share this journey with you, watching our little ones grow up into their big, bold selves. I love hearing about how you navigate the joys and the challenges of watching your little ones grow, your stories, your tips and your tricks. So please, feel free to post your experiences, and don't forget to share this podcast with other mums and dads who are riding the same emotional roller coaster. It's a beautiful reminder that they're not alone. Together, we've got this. Together, we can embrace the challenges and cherish the moments of parenthood with fun and laughter. So remember, keep cherishing those precious moments, and above anything else, you're doing an incredible job.